Hello and welcome back to Everyday Adventures in Cooking with Rick. We're in another quarantine edition. I guess we're doing a lot of these, more than we expected, of this show. And tonight we're doing a soup. We're going to do a chickpea and pasta soup. We actually weren't planning on filming tonight. And honestly, with this show, when we film, it's because we're eating. We're not filming just to film. We film because that's what we're having for dinner. So it's middle of May here in the Northeast, and it's snowing out. Kind of crazy, but super cold today. It just felt like what a great night to have soup. Again, what do we have in the house? I had a lot of chickpeas because I like chickpeas, so I always have some vegetable stock. We said, why don't we make a soup? So I'm not going to say this is officially a recipe, kind of making it up, but I've made similar to this before. The pasta is a homemade pasta I made. Now, a little background on this. My wife and I have been married for over 30 years. All married couples have their little disagreements now and then. We had one recently that almost ended it when she said she doesn't want to keep eating pasta. No, I need my pasta. That would be the end. So I started making this combination of chickpea flour and regular flour. You've seen my other videos where I've made a full chickpea flour for gluten-free. This is actually half and half. Chickpea flour and regular flour.
Chickpea.
This is healthier than only regular flour. She's over there yelling at me. And actually what I did with this one, it's just chickpea flour, regular flour, egg, salt, and black pepper. So it's actually a black pepper pasta to give it some extra flavor. She's giving me dirty looks again. I just can't do anything normal, she says. I gotta always mix it up. It's just the way it is. Anyway, the other ingredients, it's simple. Some olive oil, vegetable broth, chickpeas, a little tomato, onion, garlic, and rosemary. That's it. So let's get cooking. Okay? Just like with most soups, most things we do, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get some onion cooking in the pan. I'm not making a big batch of soup tonight, just the two of us again. And so we're just kind of making a small batch. But so typically, with most typical soups, you're going to start by sauteing some kind of aromatics. This time we're using onion. It's going to be very simple ingredients. It's just the onion and the garlic for the aromatics, and then it's just the chickpeas and the pasta. I wanted to put some celery in there. My wife doesn't like celery, so we're not going to put any celery in there. I don't say she doesn't like it. I think she prefers it not to be in there because she eats all the soups that I make with the celery in it. So I'm going to leave it out. And we may have some bread or a sandwich or something with this too. So we're just going to chop up our onion. And get that pan started while we're waiting. Get some heat on there. Yeah, so again, today it just started snowing in the middle of May. Kind of crazy. So it felt like a soup night. And I've said before that the soups are one of those things that I love to do because you can be so creative and you can make something out of whatever you have in the house. There's almost never a time where you don't have something that you can't make soup out of. Now, this is vegetarian. I was actually going to add some meat to it, but I think my wife wants it without meat. See, she's shaking her head at me. So we're doing this one just vegetarian tonight. So we're going to put some olive oil in the pan and get our onions cooking. A couple of them went on the floor. My wife's over there laughing at me because she knows, don't worry, I'll clean it up. Yeah. So now we got our onions going. Now we're going to cut up our garlic. Get my trusty wooden spoon here just to get those onions. And get those started while I chop the garlic. We're only putting a little bit of tomato in. And you can put, if you're lucky enough to have some fresh tomatoes, you know, a couple of fresh tomatoes in there would be even better. I don't have any fresh tomatoes right now. If you have some whole, you know, peeled tomatoes, I just happen to have this little can of tomatoes here, which I think would be good in there. Chop that garlic up. And we're going to add that once the onions sweat down. So we're going to reset the camera over here so you can see what's going on in the pan, and then we'll be right back. Okay, the onions have been cooking for a few minutes, and they are starting to get clear, translucent, get soft. So now we're going to add our garlic. I've got about 2 cloves of garlic in there, 2 big cloves. We're just going to let the garlic cook only for about a minute or so. We don't want to overcook the garlic and get it burned. The next thing we're going to add is our little can of tomatoes. Again, this is any kind of tomato you want. Not too much. I don't want to make this a tomato soup. I'm going to just clean the can out. Get all the tomato out of there. I've got the tomato in there. Now we're going to add, I've got 1 32-ounce container of vegetable broth. We're going to add to that. You could use chicken broth, you can use beef broth. If you're going to add meat to this. Again, the soups are one of those things, you can do it any way you want. I was actually going to cook some, I had some guanciale left from another recipe. I know, my wife says, why do you have to put that in there? So I'm not going to put it in, we're going to make it vegetarian. Now we've got our vegetable broth in there. Even Lola wants the meat in there. Okay, we had to take a pause there because the dog needed to go out. Now we're back. So I just put my vegetable broth in there. Now we're going to add a can of chickpeas. I'm actually, this time I'm not going to drain it. I'm going to leave the liquid in there, and it's going to add just a little bit more to the soup. So now we've got our chickpeas in there. We're going to add our rosemary. I'm going to say a heavy teaspoon of rosemary. Okay. Again, if I had fresh rosemary, I would have added that, but I don't. Not right now. When our garden is planted, then we'll be able to go out in the garden while we're cooking and get some fresh herbs. Alright, so we are going to let this cook for 10 to 15 minutes. Let those chickpeas soften up a little bit, let everything cook, and then we'll be back, add the pasta, and that'll be it. Alright, so this has been cooking for about 10 minutes. The chickpeas are nice and soft now. I tasted a little bit. It needs a little bit of salt. I'm going to add a little bit of pepper just to season it up. So just a little bit of salt, not too much. A little bit of black pepper. That's to taste. Now we're going to add our pasta. Now the pasta is going to cook right in the soup. We may have to add a little more water because that pasta is going to absorb some of it. But we're going to put that pasta in now. Again, that pasta is a combination of chickpea flour, regular flour, but I also, again, because I have to experiment all the time, I put some black pepper in the pasta when I mixed it up to give that pasta a little flavor, a little extra flavor. That pasta is fresh, so it's only going to take about a minute or so to cook. So we're going to let that cook and we'll be right back. All right, so that soup, we added all the ingredients. The pasta is now cooked. It only took about 2 to 3 minutes. I'm going to plate up. I had to add, I did say I had to add about 8 ounces of water. The soup was getting a little too thick. So I added about 8 ounces of water to it. But now the soup is done. We're going to plate some up here. I'm going to add myself just a little bit of, I always add, my wife had to make a comment, a little bit of Pecorino Romano cheese on the top. It adds a great flavor. And there it is. Your chickpea and pasta soup. Very simple. I'm going to have a nice piece of bread with that. Nice glass of red wine. Let's see. So simple, so good. That pasta with a little bit of black pepper in it. So as you're eating the pasta, that pepper flavor comes out. I think it's fantastic. I love it. So there it is. It's such a simple recipe on a cold, snowy May night. I want to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope everyone's home, safe and well, enjoying these recipes, trying them. Please like the channel, subscribe. Oh, and my wife just reminded me, we now have 100 subscribers. That's fantastic. Look, this is something that when we started, obviously we're having fun doing this. We thought it'd be a fun thing to do. The fact that we have 100 subscribers is awesome. We're very thrilled about that. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking. I'd love to get more comments. Love to see pictures of the food that you're doing. Get some ideas from you, from recipes you'd like to see. Again, thank you. And until next time, stay well.